everyone, my name is Ferns and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about my Platyceriums. This is a video that I'm really excited to do just because it's why I created this YouTube in the first place. That's why I call it Ferns, and it's all about the ferns that I have. Let me give you a short rundown of how I got started with collecting Platyceriums. I watched Benji plant for a long time and I saw that he had a really unique collection. I thought that it was really cool and they looked like art pieces, and the way he displayed them made me really interested about the care and how to mount them, how to buy them, how to do everything. I thought that it's really cool and I wanted to show you my collection that I've gotten over the years. So Platyceriums are epiphytes, meaning that they grow on trees. They do like having a lot more airflow and they like to dry out for the most part. Most of my Platyceriums that I have do enjoy drying out, but certain species such as my elephantus right over here does like to stay a little bit more on the wet side. Whenever I do end up watering my Platyceriums, I get a large tub of water and I add some fertilizer in there and then I just dunk it in. You could do different things as well. You can add fertilizer beads like Osmocote back in the inside of these Platyceriums so they get slow releasing fertilizer. But I just choose to do it in a different way just because I'm more comfortable with managing how much fertilizer goes into my plants. So the first two Platyceriums I want to talk about are my Platycerium hilly dwarf and my Platycerium trident. Both of these I got from a shop called Flori-Culture here in Sacramento. If you guys want to find more Platyceriums, the owner is a really great and nice guy who's super knowledgeable. He gave me this hilly dwarf, which stays in this kind of size this entire time. This is, like it says, it's a dwarf form. So yeah, it needs to grow a second shield, but it hasn't yet. But I've gotten a pup out of this, so it's pretty cool. And this is the trident, which is a cross between the Platycerium Pow Pow and Mount Lewis. They're called the trident because of its fronds right over here. It has like a fork shape, so that's why it's called that. And this is my Platycerium willinkii. The first time I got this, it was like a very, very small plant. They're called pups, right? Whenever they're like really, really tiny in this tiny stages. And also with Platyceriums, certain species can grow other like babies on the side of them or like on the bottom, and they call them pups. Or if they're even smaller, like they call them sporelings as well. So that just means they're in like, it's kind of like seed phase slash like really smaller phase. But this one, I got it when it was maybe like one leaf, like maybe just really short, and finally it's gone to this size. I got it when it didn't have any shield whatsoever, but it took a lot of time for it to get this size. So this one right here is the Platycerium Coronarium, okay? These are actually like larger Platyceriums just because over time, like the Grande or the Superbum, they do end up really, really big. But right now it's in its beginning phases where it's like extremely like small. So that's why it's just, I think it's really cute to have here. I got this actually at a trade show, surprisingly, because I didn't think that they were gonna have anything, but they did, so I just got one myself. Oh, thank you CasaPlants for giving me this. This is also from Flori-Culture as well. This is a Platycerium crossed with Vichii and alicorn. I don't know much about this Platycerium, but I did have to quarantine this a little bit because it did have a fungal issue. But as of right now, I did have to cut out most of the leaves, but now it's just starting to come back and it's like a lot nicer than ever. So this Platycerium right here is called the Platycerium Mount Lewis. This is the cross that I told you about with the Platycerium trident right over here. As of right now, this plant is kind of lopsided just because I finally was able to put an extra grow light on top, and it's kind of reorienting itself later on, so then it's more even. I got this plant from Fern Factory, and I got it when it was like a very small pup. I think that it's like really big right now, and it's also growing a lot bigger just because like some of like the extra pups are like kind of like getting like growing out. You see like the little tiny like bits right there. Yeah, you can actually cut pieces of those and then grow into another plant as well. But I think for this one, I'm gonna have it grown just so that it looks kind of messy and disorganized. I just don't want one plant. I'm gonna have like a bunch of plants growing into one. So this Platycerium is the Platycerium elephantotus. I got this from Etsy a long time ago when it was in a 6-inch pot. These are one of the Platyceriums that need to be a bit more on the wet side, just because that's how they grow. If you don't keep up with its watering, it ends up kind of like crusting, and also it's like losing its leaves. So far, this is like the hardest Platycerium that I had to take care of. It's just kind of fussy, and I don't know why. I got this board for it from Fern Factory. I get most of my boards from Fern Factory, but I do like buying cutting boards from like thrift stores and also like home goods. I think that having a variety of different types of wood makes the space look really cool as well. And that's why like I don't want to keep every single one of my Platyceriums on the same board, just because it doesn't look different. It just kind of looks like it's repeating itself. Next up, I want to talk to you guys about my Platycerium SS Fong and my Platycerium SS Fong Sequi. These both cultivars are both from Mr. Fong. I believe he's from Singapore. He is a grower who created these and named it after himself and also his daughter. This plant, I'm really excited to see it grow and become a lot bigger, just because this the frond starts rolling up by itself, and I think it's really cool. This one, it's getting extremely big and it kind of spreads out like a waterfall, and that's why I like this one. But over time, I think that as it gets bigger, it's just gonna look a lot better. Okay, and I gotta show you guys about this big boy right over here. I got this from Exotic Plants. It wasn't for sale at first, but then I convinced the owner if I can buy it. This is just a regular Bifurcatum, but it's extremely huge and it's mounted very unique on this kind of redwood. I bought it when it was like a lot smaller, but because of like all the lighting I give it and the fertilizer, it's actually become a lot bigger. When I first got this, it was actually infested with mealybugs, but I actually got rid of the problem, and a lot of the leaves now are just extremely massive and getting spores and everything too. Like, look at this, okay? Like these spore patches on the very bottom, these are normal to see for a lot of these Platyceriums, just because once they mature, they turn brown and then they just release spores. They're like microscopic. Like literally all these ferns grow from like these microscopic little seeds that just spread around. So I think it's just really cool to like see whenever they do like end up maturing this way. This second big boy right here is called the Platycerium alicorn. I bought it when it was around this size. I bought it from a shop called Rainforest Flora. This was in Torrance, California when I was down there. This is extremely big. I love it. I think it's great. My only issue is that whenever it's growing, it kind of like turns its fronds this way when I want it to point it upwards. I'm seeing a lot of like the backside of it, which is like something I don't like doing, and I don't know how to fix that. But I love this plant. I think it's great. It's massive and it cascades like a waterfall too. It's extremely big and I love it. So these Platycerium are the Platycerium stamaria, which I got from a plant convention from CasaPlants. I think it's really cool and very unique. I'm waiting for it to grow its shield frond because it's kind of looking like really rough and brown, but I'm just excited to see a new one when it comes out. And this one is the Platycerium Madagascar and Grande. I got this as a gift for my birthday from my fiance. Unfortunately, as I was watering it and letting it dry, it kind of tipped over, and so it kind of like crushed some of the leaves and everything. Unfortunately, that's what happened, and it looks really bad right now, but luckily I know that it's gonna be okay and it's gonna grow back. I decided to put the plastic wrap on it just because I want it to grow more like round, and in order for it to do that, I made sure that the growth point is going to be like outwards, and then that the shield is a bit more flushed. It's just a way of keeping the Platycerium more round in its shape than anything. This is the Platycerium Grande. This is a mix between the Superbum and something else, but I can't remember. I'm having a hard time growing this just because like every time it the shield frond would kind of get a lot bigger, it would start like tearing itself up. I don't know what I'm doing wrong with this, but I've had the same issue with my Superbum as well, but I don't know what's going on. I'm just gonna keep watering it and doing what I can to keep it alive. Maybe it'll fix its issue on its own, but who knows? But I still love it regardless. So this is one of the first Platyceriums that I bought, and this is what got me into collecting Platyceriums. This is the Platycerium ridleyi. I bought it when it was in its mature size. It was like around 5 years old, and I mounted this. It was originally mounted on a tree fern stump, but I decided to put it on a board just because I like the way it's displayed. It's finally growing like the shields, and it looks kind of crazy and wonky, but I mean, I love it regardless. I just want to see how this plant just grows and continue to grow just because of how beautiful it is. But I mean, look at this. Like, this is why I love Platyceriums, because they're just so unique and they're just so different from other plants as well. This last Platycerium that is on my wall is the Platycerium's Horn Surprise. I also put a plastic wrap right here too, just because the shield is finally growing out and I don't want it to get caught on the dry sphagnum. This plant I've struggled with for a really long time. When I first bought it, it was infested with mealybugs. I was able to get rid of them, but the issue that I ran into was that it was having a hard time growing, just because every time it would grow a shield frond, it would start ripping itself up and it would die. I was on like a lot of different Platycerium forums and everything to like figure out what the issue was, but nobody can really help me. So instead I decided to just look on and figure out what I can do, and I decided to put more fertilizer, just because I've been giving all my plants like diluted fertilizer, and then it looks like it's doing the job. I mean, look at this, okay? When you look closer, the shield is great and it's nice. This is as big as it's ever gotten without like hurting itself or ripping itself apart. So I think it's beautiful. I just can't wait for it to grow more and more lush and everything. So yeah. So this Platycerium is another ridleyi that I have. I actually decided to mount it differently than my other Platyceriums just because I like how this looks. I decided to get like a big sheet of mesh, and I zip tied it all together, and I put an aeroid mix in the inside of it, and on the very top right here I put a layer of sphagnum moss. I love how it's displayed this way just because the fronds just shoot upwards, and over time the shield frond is going to cover this entire spot right over here, and then it's going to kind of like just like engulf it, and I think it's just really cool to look at, and it's just a different and new way to display my Platycerium. This Platycerium is the Platycerium Superbum. It does have issues where it's like cutting itself on the fronds, just like my Grande. I really hope that it fixes its own issue, but I don't know what's going on. I found this board on a beach, and I thought it was really cool and very different, so that's why I decided to mount this Platycerium on it. I also decided to put 2 orchids on the back of the Platycerium boards, and look, it's growing these purple flowers. I think it's very beautiful, and it's a great way to display it. I think in the future, when it does bloom once again, I'm going to kind of like reorient the flowers, just because it's only growing on one side, so it's extremely lopsided. But overall, I think this is a very beautiful like piece that I've made. So I have one more Platycerium that I do want to show you guys, and I bought it a couple days ago from a reptile expo, and I thought that is going to be really cool to show you guys. Right now I'm kind of quarantining it just because I'm afraid that it might have pests or maybe bugs or anything. So let me grab it for you guys, okay? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. So this is the newest Platycerium that I have. This is the Platycerium adenium. I bought it because this is like the first and only Platycerium that I saw, and it just caught my eye when I was at the Reptile Expo. Right now, like I said, I was quarantining it just because I saw a little bit of black spots. There might be bugs on it, I'm not sure. That's the one thing that you need to do when you get new plants, just because you don't know where it's been or how it's been taken care of. So put it away for like 2 weeks, and then it'll come back, you know, just come back and check on it regularly just to make sure that everything's okay with it. But this thing is huge, it's massive. So the last Platyceriums I do want to show you guys are going to be the ones on my grid right over here. I'm not going to jump into too many details because some of them are pups. A lot of these Platyceriums that I do have are the dwarf species of like ridleyi, and they are a bit more expensive just because these cultivars are more sought after by Platycerium enthusiasts. So this one right here is the Platycerium bacteria. I got it when it was really small, like a lot smaller than this. But I gave it like a giant cork bark just because once I wanted to see it mature and grow into this entire space, so it's going to take it over. So I think it's really cool. So these two Platyceriums are Platycerium ridleyi dwarf, and this is the SS Fong. These are the ones that I pulled from my Platycerium wall up that I showed you guys earlier. These are just pups because you know, they grew from part of it, and I just took them out and I decided to mount them in these cork barks. So this Platycerium is the Platycerium veitchii. It does grow more like a Bifurcatum. It's really small right now, but they do pop like crazy, and I've gone maybe 3 or 4 pups from them already. So this is the biggest one that's there, and I'm just waiting for it to like fill in. This one right here is the Platycerium Jade Girl. Like I said before, this one grows like kind of like a coral shape, so that's why it's like pointing out this way. I think it's really cool, and honestly, like I can't wait to see this one grow like bigger just because of how amazing it looks. This is my Platycerium Pegasus. I'm not sure what it's mixed with. I put this inside a bird feeder cage, and then I decided to put an aeroid mix, and then on the outside of it I decided to put sphagnum moss. Oh, by the way guys, if you guys are ever mounting any of your Platyceriums, make sure to always have like some kind of cork bark in the middle, some kind of like aeroid mix, pumice, perlite, any of those things, just because they don't like to stay wet for too long. If you are putting Platyceriums in just straight sphagnum, it's going to stay wet for way too long and it's going to die out a lot faster. So my recommendation is always to put it with an aeroid mix, such as those kind of bark, and then on the outside of it put sphagnum moss, okay? And when the sphagnum moss dries out and then you can feel it when you touch it all over and it feels dry, that's the best time to dunk it or water it. And the last Platycerium that I do want to show you guys is my Platycerium Smiling Moon. This is a dwarf species of ridleyi. I got it for a pretty hefty price, but over time it's going to grow and then kind of like cascade down. Wait, now that I think about it, I don't know if it's a dwarf species. But anyways, this is just one of those other Platyceriums I've seen that are very different and unique once it gets a lot larger. So that's why I decided to get this one. Thank you everyone for watching this video. If you guys have any other questions, comments, or concerns about my video, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.